And we'll go from there, guys, if that's okay with you.
Yep.
Hey, good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode live from Jerusalem with Rabbi Chaim Goldberg. We so enjoy the Genesis teachings he's been sharing with us. We're so thankful that he takes the time out of his very busy schedule to share with us. It means so much to myself and the whole class. We're joined today by our friends in Vilnius, Lithuania. We got our friend Daniel down in Bogota, Colombia, South America. My good friend Cole down in Washington State, and myself in British Columbia, Canada, plus all you folks out there watching. And we're always overjoyed that you do join us, and we do appreciate the Torah most of all that Rabbi Chaim shares with us. So he's just setting up, so we're waiting for him to be all ready. I see he's got no lights on in his office. He's there, but no lights on. Can you hear me, Rabbi Chaim? Well, we got Cole's beautiful face up on YouTube. Man, you got quite a beard, buddy. How long you been growing that?
Oh, years and years.
Oh, right on. You know, if I'm a bit of a ginger myself. If I let my beard grow, looks very similar.
Yep.
But that's years and years. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Rabbi Chaim, how are you today? Oh, your mute is on, your microphone.
On mute. Yes,
There you go.
Good evening, everybody. Can you hear me, please?
Now we can hear you perfectly, Rabbi. Thanks so much for sharing with us. We missed you last week. We always miss you. We always enjoy the wonderful words of Torah you share with us, and we're so thankful.
So first of all, I must admit, I missed you also last week. It was interesting, the emptiness that I had last week regarding this lesson. And today we have a lot of electricity breakdowns. So this is why I'm on, I'm off, I'm on, I'm off. So I moved now to my phone. I'm speaking through my phone. So I hope that this won't fall down.
You're clear. We're getting you clear right now.
So it's okay. How are you, all of you? Everything is okay with all of you?
Baruch Hashem.
Excellent. The only thing I managed to hear is that Cole, you said how long you building up your beard.
Yeah.
Fair enough. This is excellent. I must admit that yesterday, just a moment, let me see here something. I'm sorry for the. It's all got very confused, everything here.
These things happen, Rabbi. These things happen. So do you need me to pull up any Bible verses or anything, or are we just going to wing it today?
No, I want to open up something else. I want to open up, just let me see that I can see all of you. Oh, here it is. Okay. I want to open up tonight. We'll start with the Bible or something, but I want to open up basically mainly. Maybe if it's possible that also, Dan, you will share the Bible through you so it won't fall down here. I want to discuss a bit more deeper something that we spoke maybe 2 years ago. I will say a few words to remind ourselves. We need from time to time also to remind ourselves a few things. And I want to discuss a bit of the Shulchan Aruch that we opened. Something that I think it's a time that we will also discuss things from the Shulchan Aruch. But mainly I want to start, first of all, with something. We started Rabbi Sherki. We started with Rabbi Sherki, okay, the head of the Noachide World Center organization. We started lessons in Hebrew to people from the Noachide community, from all of the world. So we have there people from India, people from Europe, people from South Africa. And unfortunately, I didn't manage to find yet an Noachide that can listen to Hebrew lesson and to go with this. Because most of the people in the United States, in Canada, they are speaking, they're not speaking Hebrew, they're speaking English. And one of the things that we said in the, those are not, most of the people in Spain, not in Spain, in South America are speaking Spanish. I think you know Spanish, Daniel, right? Or some of them also Portuguese. So we decided that the things that Rabbi Cherki taught all of the people, we will also share them a bit and explain them a bit. So the first lesson was regarding the learning of the Bible. And now the truth is that I have a course, one of the courses on Udemy, that is called The 5 Biggest Mistakes When You're Learning the Bible. Now this is a course, I already put it on Udemy 2 years ago, something like that. It have, I think, something like 600 students or something like that, this course. And what Rabbi Cherki taught in this lesson was this course. And I want to share things from the course or from things that Rabbi Cherki also taught there. And I want to speak about the mistakes when people are learning the Bible. Because usually when people are learning the Bible, they think that if they read the story, this is enough for them. And this is nothing. Okay, the story, we already started to see that the stories and things that are written down have more profound levels of understanding. After all, the one who gave us this message, he created this world. And if we will look at this world, we will see that it has so many creatures, so many level of understanding, so many things. It's almost without endless of profound levels. So of course, also when he's saying to us words, he have a bit more of meanings. And we already saw more than one lesson like that we have profound meanings for the stories. And one of the things that people, when they are learning the Hebrew Bible, they think that when they know the story, this is enough. And this is only the surface, I would say, of what's really is happening underneath the understanding. I can give the example for the tree of life and tree of true and false, okay, that we spoke about. And we saw that basically they are the same tree. And you just need to ask yourself with what attitude you're coming to eat this knowledge. So this is just an example that I'm sending here as an example. We saw a lot of examples in the last year and a half that we are learning together. And this is the main, I will say, the first mistake that people, when they're coming to try to learn the Bible, and I saw a lot of videos, okay, YouTube videos, where people are sitting down for three quarters of an hour, for an hour or something like that. You see, we already got another close of the electricity. But because I'm working through my phone, so wireless, so everything is better. So I saw a lot of videos where people are explaining the Bible and they are feeling very good with themselves, and it's okay. It's good to know the stories, but we need to remember that the stories are only, I will say, the liaison, the part that is bringing us closer to start to think or to figure out a bit in more deeper level what is happening there. And this is the first mistake. Another very big mistake that we have is that I will give this with an example. If you will take someone who lives only with the 2 dimension, I will say it like that. He like on the paper, he only lives on a dimension that is, backwards and forwards, and right to the left. He doesn't have the third dimension like we have. And we will take someone who is holding in a safe in this 2-dimension, on the picture. He is holding in the safe few things. When someone from the 3rd dimension is coming and looking on the page, he will see everything that is inside the safe. Because for him, he is in the 3rd dimension, he's in a different dimension. When the Bible was written down, it was a time, it was an age, it was an era that we had the prophecy. The prophecy is a different dimension. The prophecy is, when Adam and Eve, they did they were kicked out from Eden, God, and we learned it, God put them inside to a body where we all have the senses, and we're starting to understand what is happening around through the senses and through our logic. And this is where we are when we are here in this world. In Eden, in the Garden of Eden, when Adam and Eve were there, they lived this world and the understanding of what's happening here in a different dimension. Now, the prophecy is in some sort of a way related to the dimension of the soul, not of the body. When you're coming inside to this world, it's like you're going inside the body and you're starting to see the world through the senses, through the mind, through the logic, through the imagination. The prophecy is a different dimension. Let's say, for example, in the technical level, it's not the prophecy level, it's only the technical level. If I will ask all of you, the prophecy is a different dimension. The radio wave here, you will say to me that you can't see it. But we all know that there is some sort of a radio wave here in this air. And there's also the television senses that if you will take the right machine and you will put it here, you will manage to hear the radio, even to see the picture. Also hear what we're doing now, okay? I'm outside of any wireless, wire situation. I'm in a wireless situation. So there is something here that I can't see. On the same level, this is only a physical thing, okay? We can't get confused. On this physical level, we know that we have limits to our senses, and we don't understand and we don't see everything. There was a very famous story in the early 60s in the United States, where one of the food companies for dogs, they added to all of the commercial on the TV some sort of a whisper that only the dogs can hear this whisper. So from one side, the commercial showed, buy for the dogs this and this food. On the other side, what happened, a lot of dogs started to bark and to come in front of the TV and to look and to bark because they heard the whispered that men can't hear, but the dogs can hear. So after 3 months, they managed to understand all of this trick, and they got penalty, this commercial, this company that did this commercial. But this is, our senses are also limited, and the understanding of the prophecy that we don't have for the last 24 centuries, we don't have this prophecy. It's a different level. So when we are reading the text of the Bible, even though we're speaking Hebrew today, the Hebrew that we are speaking today, it's not in the same, I would say, logic of the era of the prophets. So when we are reading the Bible, we need to have some sort of adjustment to bring the text with the right understanding to the modern person who don't know, who is lacking this level of prophecy. Okay, For example, the level of prophecy is saying that if you will behave good, you will get rain. And if you won't behave good, you won't get rain. And when you're asking modern person, is there any connection between the rain and your behavior, he will answer you, of course not. Doesn't have any connection. But the prophecy level do see this connection. The prophecy level do see other connections that in our eyes, our senses today, we don't see because we are not in this level. So we need to have some sort of adjustment, not only that, what I said before, okay? We have another problem, another mistake, that it's not only to learn we said before, that not only to learn the stories, but also to know that there are more deeper levels of the understanding. Now I'm saying another thing. We have a very big gap between the main understanding that it was in the prophecy time than today. The people who preserved this understanding was the sages of Israel, and especially the Kabbalist people, the Kabbalah people. Those are things that we're trying to explain also here in those lessons, and to give a bit of a taste for those things. But this is the second mistake. So I'm saying again, the first mistake is not only to understand the stories giving us also more levels, profound levels of understanding. And the second thing is also we have a different era today between the era of the prophecy and the era of today. Now we will go inside to another problem that we have. We'll say another problem is that because we know some of the stories on the surface way, when we are reading one part of the verse, we already know the end of the story. The most simple example that I can bring is the situation where Moses is giving all the, how do you say it, the 10, to the Egyptians, he's giving all the
plagues.
The 10 plagues, okay? He's giving all the 10 plagues. Now, we today know that it took 10 plagues that the Hebrew nation went out from Egypt. But let's try to think, okay, a bit like Moses and even Pharaoh. Moses, after the fourth plague, he's saying to Pharaoh, please don't play with me anymore. Let the people go. And Pharaoh is saying to him, I won't, they will go out. Just, please pray for me that this will stop. And when it stops, Pharaoh again is not letting the Hebrew nation to go out. That's it. He's still holding them. Now let's try to think for a moment. What was the conversation? What was the idea? What happened to Moses and to Pharaoh? We are sitting today very comfortable because we know the history already. But when the fourth, how do you say it again? Plague. How do you say it? Plague. The fourth plague went up and happened, and it finished. Moses didn't know what will happen. Okay? He didn't know what Pharaoh will tell him. Now I have another question. Therefore, the next debate between you and me, please prove to me that the Hebrew nation is supposed to go out, and Moses did this proof, the next plague. It's all of the Bible is like that. When you're reading one verse, or when you're reading even the first half of the verse, you need to be with the patient and to ask yourself, at this point of time, what is happening and how people are feeling and what are the options that are open for them. Let's not forget that one of the most important, I would say, fundamental issues of the Bible is that the person have free will. Therefore, at any stage that we are reading things, we need to remember that everything could have been different. For example, when Isaac have two sons, he have Esau and Jacob, okay? Today we know that, you see, another one. Today we know that Just a moment. I'm afraid that something will get ruined from the electricity. I need to stop something here. So just a moment.
That's okay, Rabbi. We understand. I mean, if you're dealing with a power outage there, um, I don't know, as advanced as Israel is and Jerusalem is, I know that with all the things that go on there, I don't know how the infrastructure actually works, especially us here in the West. We take so much for granted. Yeah, so much for granted how
Yes, you can
stable
hear
our
me? You can hear
infrastructure
me?
is.
You can hear me? When Moses is, let's go back. Let's go back to Isaac. And he have two sons. Now, today we know that Esau, he, I will say, went to the bad direction. And Jacob also managed to steal from him all the blessings, and not only to steal from him the blessings, but also before that already, Esau gave him, to be the first one, or to be the most important one. But let's ask ourselves, when they were only 12 years old, before everything started, it's all started, all of this separation between Esau and Jacob, only when they were 13 years old, not before that. Before it started, there are few other possibilities how the world can continue on, okay? It could be that, for example, Esau and Jacob could be very good friends, and they will fulfill one each other, with things that Jacob is very strong, he will do it also for Esau, and things that Esau is very strong, he will do it for Jacob. We need to stop, and at every station, I will say, that when we are reading the Bible, and to ask ourselves, what could happen now, okay? We know that Noah, we did it a bit with Noah. Maybe I didn't do it, I didn't emphasize this enough. Noah, for example, we know that God is saying to him, build up an ark. Now, I explained already more than once that the word ark in Hebrew, it's the same word like the word, okay? It's the word. So basically, what God said to him, go and declare my name, my word, to all of the people of the world, like Abraham did a few generations after that. So Noah had two possibilities: to build up an ark, like he did, or to become Abraham, like Abraham did. Abraham also built up an ark. He built up a word. And we learned this verse, that he declared the word of God, the name of God, in front of all of the universe. Okay? So Noah had the possibility to behave like Abraham, or to behave like Noah, to build up an ark from woods and to save himself only. But it was his decision to go to this way. Noah also had the possibility to go an Abraham way. He didn't took that way. Again, we need to stop on each station and to ask ourselves, what are the possibilities that we have here? And we will find that there were few possibilities. So after Noah decided to do an ark and he saved only himself, okay, fair enough. So then we need another next 10 generation that Abraham will come and he will build a different ark, and we will continue on from there. But it's going on with all of the stories, or with all of the things that we're speaking in the Bible. This is another mistake. People, when they are learning the Bible, they're saying to them, this and this and that. No, nothing there is everything is there with a free will, and people could have taken different way and not to decide to be only on this way. And this is a very important understanding when you're learning the Bible, because then you have suddenly more options of opening your eye to a profound way of understanding what's happening here, with the possibility when God is speaking with you and giving you to start to learn. So we can start to compare between Noah, between Abraham, and between Moses. We did this. When we learned together, we did this, because each one of them had, I will say, different possibilities. Each one of them, or maybe Abraham learned from Noah that this is not enough, so he did the next step. And Moses learned from Abraham that it's not enough, so he did another step. So again, everything here is starting with a free will. And this is why when we are learning this Bible, we need to see this in a way that we don't know the rest of the story. We are just seeking what are the options, and from there on to understand why didn't this person took this option, he took another option. And this is one of the also big mistakes that we have when we're learning the Bible. So I spoke here about 3 mistakes. If you have any questions or something, or if there are any questions, I will answer. Yes, done.
Rabbi, okay. I mean, you did a course with me called Freedom to Choose Your Will, and I've learned so much, especially about free will, because, in my mind, I try to think too pragmatic, scientific almost, that there's determinism, that God knows all and he's going to make it happen regardless. But how it plays out, what I'm learning from you is how it plays out. When I think of a biblical story to try to relate how to interact for the moment, like you're talking, what about like Gideon, who prayed for fleece, and he was, looking for an answer. I mean, where are we? Can we be crossing a line by inquiring? Should I go this way or should I go that way? I guess when it comes down to understanding the choice and the opportunity before us, the more I'm learning is that there are only certain things that our free will can impact. There are only certain avenues that our free will can impact. Hashem's going to have his way, and a repeating of cycles that happens, like what could have went to, like Noah could have, preached to the world, and the world could have repented as a possibility. I see Hashem as sovereign over the whole situation. That I find if our, there's a dichotomy. If our free will gets in the way and can alter the outcome for the moment, what I've learned from you is that all it can do is make the return, if you will, the fulfillment, that like Adam could have lived in Gan Eden forever had he not, or if this story had been fulfilled, that the Mashiach would have come, and the world would have been completed. I just still find that there's a limit to free will, even though we have a responsibility. There is a responsibility before us always. There's always a responsibility before us. How do I know whether to choose this or that? And I think this is what we're trying to digest, or really what I think you're trying to get across. Am I mistaken here?
No, you're right. But I must say that the free will, first of all, it is limited a bit, you can't really decide if you will be a male or female. I know that they are always, today especially, it's amazing, by the way, to think about this, okay? If you will go to any surgery that you will go in the world, in the modern world, you need to sign up that you're allowing, the doctors to touch you, to do everything. The only I will say, surgery that you have no, just you can come and you say, I want to do this, and they will do it without any question or something, is if you want to change your sexual situation. This is a crazy world today, in the modern world. But basically, you don't really have the opportunity, or you don't really have the option to decide if you are male or female. You don't have the option, the real option here. I'm saying here, when you're already born, if to be born to this family or to the other family, you don't really. There are a few things that you are a bit limited in this free will, but there is always 100% your option how to react to things. Okay, how to relate to things. What will be your position for everything that is happening for you or with you. And it is very complicated, I will say, to say, for example, I'll give an example that is written down already for more than 1,000 years in our books. Okay, it's not in the secret books, but it's one of the books that not everybody is learning it. And it says like that. It says we need to do a separation between things that happening to us and who and how it happened. I mean, this is what the book, Rabbi Sadagon is explaining. For example, if God wants to kill someone, he decided that this is the end of his days. He needs to, what we say with all of the movies, the black one is coming with, with big,
The
what do you
Reaper.
call it? Yeah, with the big ripper, and he's saying, this is the time I need to take your soul outside and everything. So God have a lot of messengers, I will say. He can send the snake. He can send Scorpius. He can send, I don't know. He can organize the wind that will pull him to the water, and God have a lot of servants that will help him to fulfill God's will. It might be also that there is someone very bad, very nasty person, very very evil one that decides to kill this person. So we need to separate. God wanted this person to die. He said to us, he obeyed us, one of the 7 laws also, don't kill, don't murder, don't do those things. You're not supposed to do those things. So everyone who is careful with himself won't go to those things. And those who are less careful or those who don't care will do those things. Chas v'chalil, God forbid, and not for us. Fair enough. So, but we're doing a differentiation. God wanted, the will of God was that this guy will die. It's your decision if you're helping him with the bad side of the world or not. This is our decision, and this is where we have a full free will for that. It's our, I will say, it is our intention and our thoughts and our feeling to things from one side, and also the decision to behave in the bad way or in the good way. It's also very much on our hands. Now there are people who it's much, I will say, no, first of all, let me finish this and then I will continue on. And let's go now on a personal level. If someone did something very harmless for me, or very bad, or he really annoyed me, I have 2 main ways how to react. One of them is to do to him back and to get angry. Those are 2 things that I can do.
Yeah,
okay?
Retaliate.
But it won't bring me anywhere, any step ahead. It won't help me at all. I need to understand that God is sending me some sort of a message. He's doing it now through this person. I need to say to him, thank you very much. Go away from me. I will go away from you. Don't bother me anymore. Okay? Now, I'm not saying to give you the next chi. Okay? I'm not saying that. You don't need to give you next chi, but you just need to say, thank you very much. Go away from me. If he's continuing to do harm to you, so I'll stop him from doing this. But go away, and do with yourself some sort of thinking, okay? And ask God, pray to God. Show me exactly why you did this to me. What happened here that I got this and this bad things that happened to me or something like that. And you can speak with God. I'll tell you that usually he is giving some answers. You just need to listen to what's happening around you, and you will see suddenly all sorts of answers for things that you never thought. And this is a very interesting way that God is speaking with us. Unfortunately, we don't have already for 26 centuries. We don't have the prophets that we can go to them and to say to them, "Look, this happened to me. What do you say? How can you help me?" And we don't have those prophets today, unfortunately. But hopefully, it will come back. But this is, first of all, the first way of how to behave, how to react, and how to use, I will say, our free will. It is continuing on because as more and more people will join, I will say, these good deeds have the right behavior, the world will become to a better place. I must say, I must mention something that I think we are standing today in a very great days. It's very interesting, but we don't really, a lot of times we don't really manage to realize. First of all, I think you've heard about this, but last week we had on Thursday, we had a very, very big ceremony here in Israel where more than almost 50 kings and prime ministers from all over the world came to Israel. Now, it was the first time that they came to Israel, not for a funeral. I'm going to say something hard here. So if you have a very, low heart, so be careful. We had already once, something like 20 years ago, 25 years ago, that a lot of I will say, the governmental people of the nations came to us. But it was for a funeral of our prime minister who got murdered. So I will say it like that. It's very hard to sentence, but I will say it, okay? We are already regular that a lot of people of the world are very excited when a Jewish person is dying. Okay, we see today that for the last 2,000 years, people are really excited from a Jewish person who died. Okay, he was dying like that, and everybody was till today they are praying to this Jewish person. Now we speaking. Last Thursday we spoke about something else. They came with the prize of Israel. They came to the Israel state. They said, "It's enough." I will say it like that. They came to the stage that said, "It's enough. We don't need anymore to be against the Jewish people. We don't need anymore to have this anti-Semitism. It's enough with this." This is basically what they said. Now it's the first time since the King Solomon days, we didn't have this big gathering. Solomon days. Yeah. So sometimes we see things in front of us and we don't understand. Now, one of the people who spoke there, Putin spoke there, Mike Pence spoke there. There were people from Canada that came, people from South America, from all over the world. But there was also someone very, very important. I really like him. I know him already for almost 40 years. He was the chief rabbi of Israel. I also heard him, in a closer situation. And he also gave a speech in this place. And he said something amazing. First of all, just to knowledge, he was in Buchenwald. He was in Buchenwald, one of the camps of the Nazis camps. He survived the Buchenwald. He survived. All of his family died except for his older brother who kept him alive. He was only 7 years old. He said, "I wasn't a person there. I was 7 years old and I was punished like I did something bad in this world. I was 7 years old." And he survived. He survived this, and he was also the chief rabbi of Israel. And it's an amazing, when I'm thinking about what he said, I'm getting, it's very, it's amazing. And he said something amazing. He said, the Noach Ark. Let's speak for a moment on the Noach Ark. In the Noach Ark, we had snakes, we had lions, we had also zebras, we had also donkeys, we had also human. But the lions and the snakes didn't attack the men. More than that, men there in the Noach Ark helped and gave food for the lions, for the snakes. No one there attacked anybody else. So what happened there? That also the animals managed to live together with the people there. What happened there in the Noach Ark? And he said the answer is very simple. They all knew that outside there's an enemy for everybody. And if, for example, the lion will attack Noach, what will happen? Noach and his son will throw him outside and he will die. And therefore they knew that they must hold themselves together. Now he said, Rabbi Lau said something amazing. He said, if the animals in Noah's Ark understood something so obvious. Let's go today, for example. Let's go today. We have so much illnessness. Okay, we just heard that in China there is some sort of a very big illness that is going out from one person to another one, and we don't know how to fight this illness. But let's go to other illnesses. We have the cancer, God forbid, and we have other illnesses. We have so many illnesses. We have people who are dying for hunger. We have so much enemies outside. How come we can't gather together and reunite ourselves together, just like in Noah's Ark, to fight against all of the enemies that are against us? And we have so much of them. Those are the words that he said. How come we must find the way? By the way, when he went down from the things that he said so much things from the bottom of his heart. When he went down, Putin came to him and hugged him and said to him, "Thank you very much." Now, I don't want to say, because we are on air now, right? Now, that I don't want to say too much hard things against so many people, okay?
It's tough, Rabbi.
In charge of the world. Well, we understand. We all understand what's happening here, okay? We can be a bit politically correct. But the understanding of us deciding to take the right side of there's a song like that. Always look on the right side of life. Yes, always look on the right sides of life. Yeah, it's a very famous song. If we will take the right side of life and we will behave in the right way, the world will become to a better place. And even if at the time being, okay, some of the people still will behave wrongly. But it doesn't say that I need to go back to them and to start to punish them. Again, of course, for everything, there's a common sense. If someone is killing people, so we need to put him behind bars. I'm not saying that we don't need to do those things. I'm not idiot. Okay, I'm trying not to be idiot. But I'm saying, basically, we need to understand, if we'll take the right side of life and we'll take the right side of the behavior, and more people will join this understanding, we will bring the world to a better place. And we will all be in this world like the Noah's Ark, fighting together against the bad things. And I'm saying this, I think that I said it already a few times this year. If we will seek inside and look good, we will see that there's not supposed to be anyone in this world who is dying because of starving. It's not supposed to be to happen, because we have enough food. The only thing that we need to do is to move the food from one place when we have more to the places where we have less. Okay? For example, Dan, go inside to your marketplace. I think that also in Daniel and also in your place. Go to your marketplace. Look what's happening in your supermarket. Okay, cool. Also the same. Look what's happening in the supermarket. I'm telling you, you can't eat everything that is inside there. And usually there are enough and more than enough for all of your community. So there are things, and we don't know even all of this, how the cycle of this food is running. But I'm telling you, there are a lot of food that is being thrown down in one place, and there are a lot of people who are starving in another place. So let's do a bit of balance, and we can do this balance. I know. So what will happen is that there will be a bit less people rich in this world. Right. It's true. Okay. But I never saw someone who is very rich who is taking the money with him to the grave. So let's, so we can be a bit more less, a bit less people rich in this world. But at the end, more people will live in this world. What do we prefer? What is the most important value? This is how we need to start to think in what's happening here. Not and we have a lot of free choice to decide and to how to behave, how to react, and what to do to bring the world to this better place. Each one of us, okay? It could be also with the effort and time that we are giving, and it also could be with the money or other things that we have in the essence that we are holding, okay? And each one of us is taking for himself, I will say, the main things how he's also contributing to the rest of the world. Okay, this is regarding your question.
Thank you so much, Rabbi. There's a lot there to digest. I really appreciate you sharing that story about the chief rabbi. There's such a deep lesson there that has to do with the connection in what makes the world a better place. Our friend Angela online had pointed out she
Good.
always tries.
First of
to
all, send her
see.
regards. Angela,
Yes.
regards. We're good that you're here. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah, she's there with her husband George. So yeah, she put out a point that she always tries to understand where she is in this story and what does it mean to her today. And sadly, or often, this is just how most of us function. What is in it for us? What am I supposed to do? How can I? And what I love about the Sheva Mitzvot is that it's framework. It's framework of veins of gold. Don't do this. Don't do that. Don't do this. And we should, have courts of justice to make sure everything balances out. But I find that that framework is just structure enough for us to look out at the world and then use the free will like you're talking about. How do we begin to implement it? And what Angelica's trying to say is, where do I fit in? And this is what a lot of people want to know. And I think you're clarifying this, that it's very, very simple, and we live in the Western culture. A lot of us have, anybody that's got pensions, let's just say a pension income. Most of us don't realize that in order for our pension income to grow, right, resources have to come out of somewhere. For our pensions or our investments to make money, that growth has to come from somewhere. And so when you get all these people behind the scenes working just for growth rather than for Hashem, they're taking more out of the system than they're putting in. That's their whole purpose. They want to their whole purpose is designed to grow. And when people are just chasing investment, I don't think they realize that connection pulls out of the system. It's like you said about the groceries. There's enough to go around for the whole world if we distribute it properly. But there's so many people that want to take such a big portion. They're so concerned about their own security that they neglect the other person out there. And a lot of times they put the blinders on and they're not from my city or my country or my continent or my nation. They're from somewhere else, and they pretend that it doesn't exist. And when hunger and starvation and things go on, that's all part of what you're talking about, is that there's mismanagement, though a lot of people try to but if more came on board and understood that, hey, if it's not all about gain, personal gain, and it's more about the health of the whole. I don't know. I know that the message of what the Hebrew people are trying to share does balance it all out and bring loving harmony and makes the world a better place. I've always enjoyed that you say that, to make the world a better place, because that is so key and critical. I'm digressing. Maybe somebody else has a question.
I want to first of all, it's things that you're saying are very important also. It's okay. If it's okay, I want to read a bit from the Shulchan Aruch that we said. Okay, let's also give some time to the Shulchan Aruch and discuss it a bit. At least the first three first halachot. It is true that the Shulchan Aruch, what we wrote down, is bringing the things how to do and what to do to a very clear points. Okay, it's not vague. It's not something unclear. Everything is very clear. So let's start to discuss it a bit. So please, Dan, as usual, when something is written down in I lost it. Something is written down in English, you're reading it much more fluently than me. Let's speak about chapter 2, fundamental principles, and please
Start with
read
number 1
and 2, and yes. Let's
and
read.
God spoke all these words, saying in Exodus 20, verse 1. Number 1, the will of the Creator is revealed to human beings through the conduit of prophecy.
This is very important to understand. I spoke about this a bit in the beginning. God managed to speak with us. God is something that is outside the world. He created this world. Okay. To understand it a bit, I will ask yourself. You can ask yourself. Today we have the laws in Canada. Okay. So the parliament is working because they have the authority from the laws of Canada. But let's ask ourselves, the first parliament, with what authority did he came? The first one, go backwards, 200, 300 years ago. Who gave him the authority to decide that he is giving the authorities of the laws? So the beginning point is a bit different. God created this world. He is a bit from a beginning point of this world. He's something else, but he spoke with us. And this is very important to understand that. It's okay, please, the second one.
Second one says, the ultimate prophetic revelation is the giving of the Torah from heaven by Almighty God.
And this is very important also to understand. We spoke about this at the beginning of the world. God created heaven and earth. This is the first verse of the Bible. And then in the second verse, we're speaking about the earth. And the earth was, chaos and everything else. The heaven is vanishing. Until when it's vanishing? Next time that we'll find the heaven, it's when God spoke with the Hebrew nation and gave them the 10 commandments. The heavens, and I'm also explaining this in one of my courses, the heavens is the vision board, how to live in this world in the right way. God spoke with us, giving us his vision board. He spoke with us from above this world, from heavens. For us today, it's heavens. Okay, today we're managing also to fly to heaven, but we're not speaking about this heaven. It's not the physical heavens. We're speaking about the heavens that are above this world, the one who created this world. And let's read for the third one, please. I just want to let I'll move this a bit.
Third one, whoever claims to be a prophet sent by God to instruct humanity must first be directed towards the sages of Israel in order to determine his authenticity and the degree of obligation to listen to his words.
There are few tests, okay, that we, the Hebrew nation, are holding to check up if someone is saying that he is a prophet, that we will understand, or we will ensure that he is a true prophet or not. Now it's a full chapter in the Deuteronomy, okay, in the fifth book. It's a full chapter there that is explaining and saying also. I know what, maybe we can see this in a moment. Just a moment, let me find here. I need to share a different one, but we'll do it. There is a way how to find out exactly if the one who is claiming that he is a prophet or not. It's not it is. I'm finding it. Deuteronomy. I think it's chapter 14, but we'll find it in a moment. It's one before that. Okay, you can't see it, right? I need to share it differently. So stop share and we'll share it again. I find where it is.
A question from somebody online.
Just a moment. Here it is. Okay. Just that we will see, okay? We're speaking about Deuteronomy, chapter 13. And if you can read verse 1, 2, and 3, this is enough, okay? This is enough to read it and to understand that in this chapter, it is speaking about how to test person to know that he is prophet or not. So please read the first 3 verses.
Sure. Everything I commanded you that you should be careful to do it, you shall neither add to it nor subtract from it. Now that's key. If there will arise among you a prophet or a dreamer of dreams, and he gives you a sign or a wonder, and the sign or the wonder of which he spoke to you happens, and he says, let us go after other gods which you have not known, and let us worship them, you shall not heed the words of that prophet or the dreamer of dreams, for the Lord your God is testing you to know whether you really love the Lord your God with all your heart and with all your soul.
And now it's continuing on, and again, as we spoke already more than once, and also today, there are also deeper levels and more understanding, but we have some sort, I will say, we have all sorts of tests, and this is what is already been written down in what we read here before, that if someone is coming and saying, I'm a real prophet, listen to me, I have what to say to you, okay, go do the test in front of the Israeli sages, and if you will pass the test, okay, you're a prophet. I'm telling you today, we don't have prophets. Unfortunately, we don't have prophets. Yes, Danny wanted to ask a question.
Hold on. It's not a question from me. It's just, it looks like we've got a new visitor from Azerbaijan. Okay. And since you're talking about a little bit about prophecy and things, he's just asking, are there calamities around the world you think you see on the horizon for 2020? Things that might be from Hashem.
Calamities?
I mean, yeah. Well, I guess it's a new person, so I thought I'd ask the question. I know that you're not into giving prophecy yourself, but, how do you see 2020 unfolding? Any signs of calamities? And I know that you teach, especially the Hebrew people teach, okay? The Hebrew people teach that people shouldn't be prophesying bad things, right? That's a sign that it's not prophecy for sure. But I guess maybe to quell this new person's concern, from Azerbaijan, we're glad to have all new people that come and step into class. Have you got any signs of or any feelings of ups and downs this year, or maybe trials, trials that the nation of Israel faces or the world?
Now, the only thing that I can say, and I said it, I think, a few minutes ago, that not always we understand the main occasions that we are inside them. Okay, let's go for all of us, most of us here, a bit old enough to remember the falling of the Berlin Wall. Okay, now when the Berlin Wall fell down, we didn't really understand the main. I know that all of the Russian worlds will fall down, and there will be a difference between the World Core, the Cold War. Okay, everything is going to change in this world. I think that what happened last Thursday, I think that what's happening now in those moments where the United States of America suddenly declares, understands, and also insisting that and it's true, by the way, that in the laws of the nations, the Hebrew nation came back to the homeland, to the Bible place, and they didn't steal anything, and it's not occupied, and all of those things. I think that we are today on days that are very big days. Now, you're asking me what will happen? I'm not a prophet. I really am not a prophet. I do think that we are moving other stages. We are moving onwards, I will say it like that, towards the fulfillment of the presence of God among the Hebrew nation in another more profound way, because as more as we are coming back to our homeland, the presence of God is returning back to this world. This is one of the things that we can see. Now, it's also influencing, this is something that we can see today, it's also influencing around the world, okay? To have someone today from Azerbaijan that we all know it's a Muslim country, and he might also lose his life. This is why he's not with us on this video, okay? But he's managing to listen to the words of God, something that 20 years ago we can only dream on. And today we have it in reality. So we see today, like the popcorn is popping up in all sorts of places. We see today that this spiritual spiritual will is more and more getting bigger and bigger, around the world. And it's something because it's happening because the Hebrew nation is coming back to the homeland and the presidency of God is returning back. So as I said a few times tonight, we don't have prophecies yet. We don't have people who know how to prophet, and we don't have them yet, but it will come back. And we are on days that suddenly, or not suddenly, that the world is starting to acknowledge that the Hebrew nation is coming back. And I will say it like that the Bible language is recovering and doing repeatness and bringing back the repeatness to the world, that everybody could come back. And I think that we are moving another step for that. But,
Rabbi, that's beautiful. So well put. There's also a lot of archaeological discoveries. I read an article this morning about something that was posted back in November about Nehemiah's wall being discovered there, and some archaeological digs. A lot of things are happening, but as you touched on today, about the world leaders coming to Israel just last week, and sharing of the in that, the sheer fact that you haven't saw such since the days of Solomon is just amazing. So now, Rabbi, we're over an hour.
Yes, I need to go. I need to go. We need to conclude.
Nope, I think he froze.
Maybe that we'll have a problem. Next week, it might be that we'll have a problem. But even though, just a moment, even though I will, see, דניאל, אני באמצע שיעור עם בני נוח בעולם, אני חוזר לך עוד כמה דקות, אני מסיים. תודה, ביי.
His time's up, folks, so.
Yes. No, next week, I might have a problem, but I will do my best, at least for a few minutes. I'm in somewhere, not in Lithuania, but I'm doing same thing like I'm doing in Lithuania, but I will do my best to go out at least for 15, 20 minutes and to have a lesson. And 2 weeks from now also we're going back to normal. So just to know that, but I will send all the links and everything else.
Excellent.
Okay.
So, folks, Rabbi Chaim's got to go. So next week we're going to do a short broadcast. We'll post it on social media, and we hope to see you here again. 2 weeks we'll be doing a full lesson. Please keep Rabbi Chaim in your prayers and all of Israel, and may Mashiach come in our day. Until our next lesson, folks, have a wonderful, wonderful day.